right, guys. Welcome back to Hello. And I'm joined with my wonderful co-host, Michael David.
Woo!
And we have new merch on right now. And you can go to angelinapavarnik.com to purchase that. So it's angelinapavarnik.com again. Just letting you guys know. So cheers.
Yeah, cheers to
Cheers.
you. Love the merch, and more is coming, by the way. Right now, it's just hello.
Yes, we're just going to drop this right now, and then more is going to come.
Yeah, and I mean a lot more.
A lot more.
Yeah.
You're going to see.
Yeah, Rob, who we're working with very closely, he and I both have been actually putting in a lot of work to the designs and stuff, and I think the fans are going to love it. But yeah, hello is, of course, what we're starting with. So how are you, girl?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
I'm excited about this one.
I know. We're going to talk a little bit like non-TV stuff. Still deep. Always deep topics on hello. I feel like.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're fun, but I feel like we've been really like getting into some deep
You have
dives.
to get into it.
Yeah.
You got to show everybody. Like, I want to show the fans the truth and tell them the truth and let them know like everything, because they want to know things that are not going to be aired. I would love to like showcase that to them, you know?
So you talked about on the first episode of hello how you used to be in, is it be EMT or work in EMT? How do you say it?
I was an EMT for the city.
Okay, cool. So when did you start that? Was that right after the show? Like how did that come about?
So my aunt is an EMT and she worked for transport. So I started out doing transport. Transport is where you have to lift somebody up and down stairs in Brooklyn, in Manhattan, that need to get dialysis. It's very sad, but these people have, amputated legs, and it's just so, it really opens your eyes up to like the craziest things in the world, and like how life is just so short, and like at any given moment, like, you have to watch your health, and like that was a very eye-opening thing for me. But I loved doing it because I loved helping people, and that's really why I did that.
So
I start off with transport.
Okay. So what was the training like for that?
The training, I had to go through an EMT course. You had to take a state test, and you have to pass that. If you don't pass it, you don't get your state license. I passed it. I think it was a 5-month class also, but that wasn't the city one. The city was a paramilitary, basically like boot camp.
And what was that like?
I was 5 months as well. And let me tell you, everybody was like, we thought you were going to come in thinking you were going to get handed to you on a silver platter. Girl, you worked your ass off. I'm like, thank you. Like, they thought that I was going to come in wanting handouts. And they were like, you did everything. Like, you did everything on your own.
Is there ever a situation where you don't feel like you're being judged based on what you've done television-wise or work-wise? Or, like, have you ever walked in have you ever walked in after starting this television journey where you didn't feel like people were looking at you because of that?
No.
No?
It's always like, is she like a bitch in real life? Like, a lot of people ask that question to other people. And then it's like, if the person actually knows me, it's like, I'm always defending you and like saying like you're not this bitch, because that's the way I'm portrayed. I'm portrayed as the villain, and it sucks, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm happy that I was able to, during the, me not being on the show anymore, I went back to a regular life. I had a little bit of privacy, which I have to say. I was able to walk around the mall. I was able to, like, I think, like, the fame kind of, like, drifted, which, looking back at that now, I'm, like, kind of like that. Like, it was, like, you know what I mean? It's like a...
You were in, like, a happy medium. Like, you were...
I was in a happy place.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm in a happy place being on a reality TV show because listen, I'm part of an ensemble, and I'm not going to ever say that I'm not thankful for this. You know what I mean? So... But being able to just walk around and like people just, it was kind of like people didn't give a shit anymore. And I was like, oh, I love this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, you have those people that did give a shit and thought that I wanted a handout. And then they're like, damn, you worked your ass off to be an EMT. Like, we didn't think you had it. Like, we didn't think you were going to like take all the tests and like put the work in, but you put the work in. I was doing jumping jacks, getting down. They were like, drop down, give me 50. I'm like, all right.
Where was the paramilitary place?
Fort Totten, Queens.
Wow.
I had to
Did
run.
you stay there?
Well, no, it's like you have to go back and
Commuting.
forth.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so like we carpooled. So
Got
like
it.
I was living in Staten Island at the time, and you gravitate towards your group. And I was they had Alpha or Bravo. So I was Bravo. That's the night crew. We were the we were the best ones. I gotta be honest. And a lot of them are still either EMTs, or they moved up to become paramedics, or a lot of them became firefighters now. So shout out to them. You know, they're still doing it.
Do you keep in touch with a lot of people from it?
Some of them I do. They're on
Yeah.
my Facebook. We like each other's stuff. They're always reaching out to me, like saying congratulations. A lot of them congratulated me on this podcast, actually.
Amazing.
That is where I see like just happiness, you know, because those were when you get so close with a whole bunch of new people, and like you're like carpooling, and we have a test today. Let's run through the test. Like, and we were leaning on each other for the tests, and like going over like we would have like cards. Like, all right,
Yeah.
so I'm going to read this out to you guys. Whoever was driving, or if I drove, they would read it out to me. All right, what's the whole heart? Like, you had to learn all the veins and all the everything. Like, the aorta, like the 1%, which is the dick. Like, don't even ask. Like,
So do you feel like you still remember everything?
no.
No. Okay.
I have to, like, literally, I had to. It's so much work, and people don't understand. It's like becoming a nurse, but not becoming a nurse. Like, you're right there, but you just don't administer drugs. You haven't, like,
Yeah.
you just don't, like, give needles. Like, you're almost like a nurse or a paramedic. Like, a paramedic, they do give the drugs, and, like, they administer all the IVs and shit like that. But in EMT, we're the frontliners.
What does EMT stand for? Do you know?
Emergency medical technician.
Okay, cool. I was like, obviously.
I know my.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess.
You tried to stun me there?
No, I know. I was just. I was even just asking myself. I was just like, no. What?
Imagine I didn't know that. Like, people would be like, you asshole.
Yeah, that wouldn't probably look good.
No, I remember it.
So you did that immediately after season 2?
No,
you
so I
left?
did transport for a few years.
Oh, okay. So you started with that and did that a few years
Yes.
first.
So I
Okay.
got my regular EMT license, state license, and then I put in for the fire department. And I had to wait a couple of years for them to call me, but they called.
I just can't believe you did this. Like, this is crazy.
Drop down,
shit.
give me 50, girl. I'm like, all right.
So you were probably like really. I mean,
I
you
was
still- you-
ripped.
yeah,
No,
you-
I'm not ripped anymore. I was shredded.
Damn.
I had to run down whatever the freak highway that was with a flag that was bigger than my whole body, American flag, like 90 of us, and it's like, don't let it go. And I'm like trying to hold it up because those things are heavy,
Yeah.
and it's a 5K mile run, like, and I'm running, and I'm like trying to keep up, and I'm like, but like my stamina got better and better and better and better. And I started running with no, like, huffing and puffing.
So when did you? Well, I guess before we ask, when did you leave the EMT world? Because I assume that was right before coming back to the show, right?
Well, I was doing both at one point, and then it just got too hectic where I had to choose between which one I was going to do. Because it was cutting into, like, all right, well, we need you to film for like a week, and I couldn't take off for a whole week. So,
You were doing. So were you?
I was
still
doing
in,
both.
You were doing both. So
Yes.
for family vacation, you were still doing both.
Yes.
Wow. So you were still an EMT when you came back. And I mean, listen, you've opened up about how that first season you weren't paid because you were still kind of
I had to
finding
get
your way
paid
back.
somewhere,
Yeah. So
and that's where I was getting paid.
And then I guess season 2 was when you left.
I think season 3.
Really? You were an EMT all
Well,
that
I was
time?
actually also injured because I lifted a 450-pound patient on a stretcher
Yeah.
with everybody.
I bet you have
With-
hella stories.
Oh, I have mad stories.
And this
Like,
is-
the
this-
stories are ridiculous that I
yeah,
have.
We could probably like even make this like a series of episodes, you know, like
Some of them were hard. Some of them were beautiful. Some of them were just so, like I was so thankful. And some of them were just, like, thankless, you know? And I'll just never forget one kid like stole a car, and not to even laugh, like it's not even funny, but he crashed into another car on Forest Avenue, and he was when I pulled up, my ambulance pulled up, and there was like, you know, the news was there, and every freaking sergeant and chief and for NYPD and everything, and I was like, ugh. And the kid was in handcuffs on the floor, like face down. He turns around and he goes, "Is that Angelina from Jersey Shore?" And I was like, "Oh." I'm like, "Shh, stop."
That's so funny.
So he got onto my ambulance and he was talking to the cop, and I was like, "No, you're not going to do this on my ambulance. You're going to respect the police officer, and we're going to go from there." And he listened to me. I actually stopped somebody from jumping.
Wow.
That was a thing.
What was that like?
It was crazy.
Where was that?
Verrazano Bridge.
Oh my God.
Yep. That was a thing.
How long?
I don't remember when.
Were you the only one that was talking to them? Like, what was
No,
that like?
there was a lot of people trying to.
Wow.
But I was like, can I try? Like.
And you talked to them
ESU.
off?
You know what that is?
No.
They're like, what are they?
Emergency.
They're like the guys that come in with the black gloves. They're like, if the cops can't, like, I don't know how to explain them.
I'm going to Google it really quick.
ESU is emergency
security unit?
something, but they're like badass. They're like men in black.
Emergency service unit.
Oh yeah, they are not to f with. Their job is so, they're like, you get ESU on your job, you're like, damn, this is a job. I've had fires.
Really?
I've had to wait like for the firefighters to get the people out of the fires, and then like they bring them to me.
Wow.
I've had people lose their homes in front of me, and they're watching their home go up in flames, and I had to put a blanket around them, and they're like crying, and I'm crying, and it's this whole big thing.
So you would cry too, and like kind of like
console them.
Yeah.
The worst thing I've ever dealt with was a kid committed suicide by hanging himself because he was bullied, and his father opened the door, and I had to console the whole family. That was hard because different family members kept coming in.
How old?
28 years old.
My God. And just, you know, for everybody out there, you know, that's listening, you know, there's always somebody to pick up the phone for you. You know, please know that you can contact your suicide hotlines. You know, you are never alone. You can DM Angelina. You can DM me. Like, you just, like, there is never.
Please DM me.
Yeah, please. Like,
I want you to.
Mean, you've said how you've had people DM you stuff.
I just had one of my friends DM me yesterday saying, like, you know, he doesn't want to be here anymore, and I'm like, no, you're not doing that. That life is worth living. Like, I don't want to hear this from you. Like, because he posted, like, you know, some weird story. I'm like, oh my God, you know, and it doesn't look like he's doing good.
But again, just
So I had to talk to him, and I'm trying to talk him off the ledge right now. But like, there's a lot of people out there that are struggling. Kids, teenagers, like in high school,
especially in the LGBT community.
Yes.
Like, you know, just like,
yes.
You know, and you know, I don't like to get political, but you know, just like everything happening in the world sometimes, you know, it gets very real. You know, it's just sad. It's just sad. You know, people are people. I think that I feel like that's like no matter what you are, it's like people are people, kids are kids. Like, let kids be kids, let kids find their way, and you know, not have such a negative stigma. Not only just on LGBT issues, but just like, you know, race,
so many things.
And you know,
so many things right now.
You know, like your economic situations, like, you know, just like you're enough. You are enough. You are enough. Like, so that's crazy that you had to deal with that. And
I know, walking into that was crazy.
So that was the hardest.
The father was is such a nice man, like, and the mother came in and the sister came in, and like, I was the one that had, like, at that, because you switch roles, like, okay, someone's going to drive and tech, and then someone's going to be in the back.
Okay.
So I was the one teching that day. And I remember I had to take all the information down, and it was just so hard for me to ask, like, or like you're dealing with such a big loss right now, but like, can I have like your son's, like, it's like, I'm sorry, like, I'm trying to console the family.
It's like the worst timing to have to ask for information.
Because you have to.
You have to.
You have to document. I need to put documentation down in the system. I mean, it's a call. It's a serious thing. And it was just terrible. Like, seeing that was just terrible. You know? And I'll never forget that. That was something that was very hard. The father found him. So that was something that stuck with me. It still sits. I still think about it. I'm like, whoa, you know?
And I think that you've said that it humbled you, that kind of work.
It definitely did. It humbles me to the, like, highest extent that it could. I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, she's a bitch. She's this. Like, I have grown up a lot. Do I still have some improving to do? Of course I do.
We all do.
I am not a perfect person, but I have to tell you, starting doing transport, I remember, I'll never forget this wonderful gentleman. I used to pick up his wife, like every Tuesday and Thursday, because they would go, was it 3 times a week or twice a week? I forgot, but like, he was perfectly healthy, and she was
not.
No. And he would, like, thank me. Like, thank you for taking care of my, like, she had, like, no legs. No, like, it was insane. And I had to literally put her from my stretcher to the chair. And I knew that she had to go through all this 2 to 3 times a week and have a port. And sometimes they pop. And, like, that's not easy to do. Like, you know, and I just fell for that guy and that woman. Like, I just felt that was like the love of his life, you know, and he just knew that it wasn't getting easier. And I would always just, like, give him a hug and, like, you know, just say, like, you know, I'm sorry, you know?
Yeah.
But he would always have, like, the pads ready for me to, like, lift her. And, like, he was so cool. He was always helping me lift her, like, from, like, their bed to, like, my stretcher. He was just always there to help, and he was just so inviting, like, such a nice dude.
Well, you know, I mean,
I'll never forget that guy.
It's all sad and very real.
It was a crazy job.
Yeah, but I mean, I commend you for it, because
some of those calls were so gnarly, and some of them were great. Having delivered babies, like, those were great. You know, some of the calls were just, like, drunk people, like, all right. Something called an EDP, an emotionally disturbed person. I'm like, this person's not even that bad. Like,
really?
Yeah, like, I, like, clicked with those people.
I was like, so are you emotionally disturbed?
Well, no, everyone's saying I'm borderline personality disorder, so I might as well be. No, which I'm not, asshole. Can you believe that, by the way?
No.
Because of one of the episodes that just aired, they said that I was doing that. That's what if you're a doctor, then come talk to me. But if you're not a doctor, don't ever diagnose me as that, because that's not what I am. But thank you, though. Thanks for your support.
My God.
Such dicks. Anyway, besides the point. What's up, guys? Hope you are loving Hello. I just wanted to pop in really quick because I always get so many messages from you guys about Cameo. You guys want me to make you a short video wishing somebody well, motivational advice, quick idea, you know, even like an anniversary, whatever the hell you guys want. If you guys want me to tell somebody you love them, or maybe like you want to propose to somebody, I'll say it for you. Like, I'll say whatever you guys want. I like to connect with my Angelina army because you guys are really the ones that keep me going. I love you guys so much. You guys really rally for me, and I see it. I love you guys, really. You're the ones that keep me going, and you guys are the reasons why I'm still on the show. Head over to cameo.com/AngelinaMTV to book again. That's cameo.com/AngelinaMTV. Cannot wait to connect with you guys. I love you guys.
Yeah.
I always got along with, like, the drunks. I'm like, you had one too many, but I'll bring you to the hospital.
Well, I think also that's the best way to, like, communicate with people who are in that state. Like, you kind of just got to be like, yo, I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah, you can't go against those people.
No,
they will with you.
That's kind of the way that I go about speaking to people who have different like political beliefs as me. Like I'm usually I'm usually just like, bro, like we're people, you know.
I don't talk
like,
politics with nobody.
No, well, you can't these days.
Oh, I'm not.
You can't.
I don't talk
days.
that to nobody.
No, and I
that's
think
off limits to me.
Good, and you know what? Like we're at a place now where I just feel like it's so hard to not, which kind of sucks.
Oh,
but
I'm out of it.
Good for you.
I
It's
pull
tough.
myself out. You ask me a question about politics, I'm like, I'm Forrest Gump. I'm running the other way.
I just like,
don't
can't
ask
we
me
about like other things? Like, can't we just like, aren't things more important?
Can we talk about aliens?
We should do a whole episode about aliens. We have to do a whole episode about ghosts.
Oh.
Yeah, we have to do a whole episode about
ghosts. Ghosts are a thing, people. I don't care who
your house. My God, your house is like possessed.
Listen, that ghost likes when I get naked.
I know. Yeah.
The REM pod goes off.
Yeah. It does.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm getting naked now, and he's like, Reh.
I know. She like literally yells at the ghost. She's like, I'm getting naked now.
I'm like, can you go off so I could show like my friends that you're real? And like,
and it does.
It goes off.
Yeah, it does. It was weird.
It was going off the other night again. I was like, why do I put myself in these positions?
Oh my God. I think we're getting a call.
Are we really?
Yeah, we're getting a call.
All right, duck phone it is.
Okay.
Let's hear this one. Hi, duck phone. How are you?
Hi, Angelina. This is Julie Maiano. I'm having a fundraiser for Rocco, the little boy on Staten Island that's 6 years old that's battling cancer.
Oh.
On June 19th at the Old Bermuda Inn. And I would like to know if you would donate your time to come and raise money for this little boy that is going through chemo and all kinds of horrible things. If you can, please give me a call and tell Tony from Phoenix that I said hello.
Oh, I love that.
That's so
Tony,
nice.
you got a shout out. When is it?
June 19th.
Oh, I have to go.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, like you'll post, like you'll get the word out about it. But how sweet was that?
Oh my
gosh. Not really
gosh.
sweet, but just like.
That's so sad, but like I want to do. I feel so terribly. See, I say like animals and children, and the elder, like older people. Like I just feel so terrible for them, especially like my grandmother passed away on Christmas, like Alzheimer's, like
literally on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day, and I found out like 3 days later.
Oh, Ange, that's terrible.
That's another thing I'm going through. That was my soul, my heart. That woman, she raised me. Like I had no say, and like I was saving her. Like she was not eating the food there, but I was going there and giving her shakes, and she was like so happy because she remembered me.
Yeah.
And I have videos like I want to show you, and she's like, "I love you."
Oh my God! Stop!
And I'm like, "I love you too."
I'm gonna sob. Don't even tell me that. Ugh.
And the minute that I was revoked of the way I couldn't get in anymore because of her ex-husband.
You weren't allowed to see her anymore?
No, he stopped me from going.
Wow.
Because he knew I was saving her life.
And
I think you're disgusting for that. Karma's a bitch, you know? I don't wish karma on anybody, but when you know, he was like, well, you know, I heard that you were getting her upset. I would tuck her in. She was sleeping, like peaceful. And then the nurses would reach out to me and tell me that she was good. She was getting out of bed the next day. She was in bed for like a whole week without me going. When I would not go, she was bad. But when I would show, which was a lot, until I couldn't go anymore, like he revoked it from me, he just wanted her to go. And I found out 3 days later. That was my rock, that woman.
I knew that you had lost her. I didn't realize that was what the situation was like.
Alzheimer's. I don't know how she passed. She was cremated. No proper burial. No funeral. I would have paid for that for her.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to take her out of the state place that she was in because it was terrible. Like I'm sorry, it was like not up to par with what I wanted. And I was gonna literally put her in my home and let her live out her days there.
Yeah.
And I was gonna get a live-in nurse, and I was gonna pay for it all, but he wouldn't allow it. like that, being an EMT, I like, and still having my state certification, by the way, that seriously is the most up thing, because in her paperwork it was like, do not resuscitate.
Yeah.
For like 10 years it was in there. More than that, probably. She wasn't supposed to be there for that long. Like, it was like she went in there so early where like she really didn't have like a big problem, but they put her in there.
Yeah. I
those shakes was saving her life, man.
It's so sad.
She was drinking something.
Yeah,
like.
it's so sad just because, I feel like every family has to like go about that in their own way, but just
Gross.
It's so terrible because one could say when you put somebody in a situation like that, they can digress or degress. I'm not sure what the.
Oh, she didn't want to be in there. She kept saying, "When are we going to go home?" And I'm like, I can't get you out of here.
You didn't have that control.
No, because I'm not, she
spouse.
wasn't of sound mind to sign the divorce papers, actually, so they were still married. But he was her healthcare proxy. So he stopped me. They actually texted me to say, we're so sorry, but he revoked access for you to get in here. And then guess what? A month later, she died.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and everyone's like, well, it was her time to... No, it was not her time to go.
How old was she?
Like 82 years old. She was healthy, but just not here.
Yeah.
How the did that just happen out of nowhere? Because she wasn't eating. And then I would DoorDash shakes.
Yeah.
But then I was like, are they giving it to her? But one of the nurses, I trusted her. But the rest of them, I didn't know them.
It's so tough.
One of them, somebody stole, I don't know who the stole her Louis Vuitton bag out of that.
Really?
Oh, you don't even know.
And I'm sure, to the topic of this episode today, I'm sure that you could also talk about how some people are not meant to be first responders or be nurses and stuff like that. Like, where there's some people that, obviously most people that you worked with, you loved, everybody was putting their lives on the line. But like, what's it like, I guess really, what kind of people should be in that line of work and what kind of people shouldn't be in that line of work? I guess that's the best way to ask.
When I would go to some hospitals, I would see the people that were not supposed to be in that line of work because they just did not want to be there. They were like, oh, I don't give a like, it was just like, why are you here? Like, what are you doing? Like, why don't you just why don't you get another job? And I would say it. I would flip the out because I didn't like that going down in front of me because I was like handing that patient off to that person in the ER.
So you would almost feel responsible for them going into the
well,
wrong
I was
hands.
Responsible until that person took over.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that that person understood the severity of what they're going through and not to fuck around. So I made sure that I said that. A lot of people shouldn't be nurses and EMTs. If you're not a, human being lover, you don't love people, or you don't like, you know what I mean? Like, why do it? I don't know how to explain it.
Well, I think that it's just...
Some people are so miserable. I'm like, you're a nurse. Like, you're making good money. Like, and not even just that. Like, you're helping people. Like, stop being a dick.
And I mean, listen, I'm sure also that some of the the line of work of being a first responder, EMT, nurse, sometimes you don't make that much money.
Well, nurses make a lot more than we were.
Interesting.
EMTs make very little money.
To do that crazy.
So, like, we're the ones that are going to the people's houses, like, seeing them, like, firsthand, seeing them, like, in, like, the worst situation. And then, like, so I'm, like, the first one on the job, like, seeing this. Either have to call it, like, all right, the person's dead, or, like, the person's alive, and I'm trying to save their life going to the hospital. So some of them weren't so crazy. Like I said, like people that were drunk. Those were like the easy jobs. But there were a lot of traumas and a lot of crazy shit I saw. And like some of the nurses just couldn't be bothered. I'm like, no. So like I had to like say something a lot of times.
What advice?
Or I would stay and watch until like I felt comfortable.
Because you were, invested.
Because I had, first of all, I had to get a signature from them. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to stay here because I just want to see. They didn't like that too much.
No. You get invested in your work.
I do get very invested in my work. I have to say, I'm very,
committed.
I get emotionally attached.
Yeah.
Just like I'm emotionally attached to my animals. Just like I'm emotionally attached to who I wished were my family, or I wished what would have been, I get emotionally attached to everything in my life.
Do you feel, as far as your newly found family goes, do you think that there's any kind of like potential there?
I don't know.
I guess time will tell.
Probably not with the father, but maybe with the other ones. I don't know.
Well, you hang out with your half sister, I believe.
I haven't lately, though.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No, not lately. But I have no problems with her. I think she's got to kind of open her eyes a little bit.
Got it. To everything else that's going on and
well,
stuff
not
like
only that, it's just like, okay, giving like this like 6-year-old man like, well, he doesn't realize he's a 6-year-old man. Like, what do you mean? He doesn't realize what he's saying to somebody? Okay, so when I'm 60, is somebody going to give me a get out of jail free card like that and be like, she doesn't know what she's saying? No, he's 60. He knows what the he's saying, and he knows exactly. He's an adult, okay? I don't care how you slice it or dice it. He's an adult. He knows what he's texted me, and I have it proof. I have all the proof in the world. I saved texts. You don't write that to somebody. As a matter of fact, somebody actually reached out to me, and they were like, he's never going to look at you as his daughter.
Ouch.
And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Hard to hear, but pretty true. And I'm okay with that. I'm getting to the point where I'm over it.
Okay.
It's not that I'm going to be over it forever, but like.
But you're just accepting.
I'm accepting, that is what I meant.
Okay.
I'm accepting.
Well, that's healthy.
I'm accepting that this is not going to work out, and he is not who I thought he was, and it is what it is, and that's where I am right now. It is what it is, right?
It is what it is. I guess that's the name of this episode.
You gotta smile. Like,
yeah.
We gotta smile a little bit more on this. Like, because if you don't, we're gonna lose our minds. We're gonna be in the loony bin.
I know. We've been getting real deep on Hello.
Listen, this is Coca-Cola, by the way, guys. This is not alcohol.
Yes.
So I'm not getting drunk.
Yes. Let's actually. We haven't really talked about that. You just recently on your social media said that you are going to no longer drink or cut back on drinking. What made you come to this decision?
So when I went to Miami, I said the same thing, but then I did drink a little bit, but not so much. Like I was like drinking more waters. I had a couple shots.
You don't drink enough water as a friend.
I know.
You need to
you are
drink more
correct
water.
about that. That's why I got like these jugs now and stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of them were like, well, you're throwing up because of like you drinking. I'm like, I was not drinking on this trip as much as I usually do. And I didn't throw up as bad on other trips. So like, no, my health is like, I've decided to cut back on drinking because, well, I did have champagne at Chucky's birthday. I didn't have a shot. Well, did I have one shot? Maybe one shot, but that's not like Angelina. Usually I'd have more shots.
But again, I mean, I feel like
I'm cutting back.
You're cutting back, and I mean, sobriety, I don't know necessarily if sobriety is your goal. I just think that you're just trying to not maybe drink as much.
That's exactly what it is.
Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say.
And I think that, obviously the first episode of Hello in the trailer, it was so funny. It was you being like, all right, guys, I'm getting drunk.
And then people are like, that's not good to like promote that. I'm like, I'm not trying to promote alcohol.
And you even said, you were like.
To like young kids.
Yeah, and that's why we censor the show. That's why,
it's not my thing.
Yeah, and we drink responsibly if we ever do. Right now we're just drinking Coke. But you even say, like, have a mocktail, like, whatever you want to do. Like,
no one's forcing it.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I just wanted to kind of throw that out there a little bit, like, your decision on that. And I think that that's really responsible, just kind of putting your health first. It's not to make some kind of public statement that you're going to be sober and you're working on yourself.
I actually should do that, though.
Well, again, I don't know.
It's going to be a little hard because I'm so used to, I think going and doing these trips, it's like, all right, like, even Dina says sometimes, she's like, well, I got to get drunk to deal with this. And it's like,
stressful.
It is. So it's like, that's kind of like my go-to. So it's like in those moments, it's like, so I know I'm never going to be boring. Even when I'm not drunk, I'm not boring.
I
so
definitely could agree with that.
Like I don't have to be drunk, people. Some people have to be drunk to be like funny. Like I'm just funny in general. But I got to say, I don't need alcohol. But again, it's a go-to.
Yeah.
It's a stress reliever when you're in that moment and you're in those predicaments.
Yeah.
That's like, all right, I want alcohol because like to deal with this that's coming.
Yeah, but I mean, even
storm.
When we've been out, like I'll get a drink, Vin will get a drink, and you don't. Like you don't. Like
I've been getting a water.
You've been or you do a seltzer with lemon.
Yeah.
Or something.
Actually, no, that's Vin gets it. I think or did I get a seltzer with lemon?
I feel like you did when we went out recently. Like you just something.
Oh, that's right, we did at that place.
Yes.
Yes.
So
okay.
I think that I just want to kind of put that out there.
That's right. I didn't drink.
Yeah.
And I was still going and I was still having a great time.
And
dancing.
I found that really interesting. I was like, this girl's really having fun.
And I was dancing on the couch, going crazy.
And you weren't drunk or anything.
No, I don't need alcohol.
You don't need it, and no one needs it. And
no.
I think the point is, everybody has their own journeys with alcohol, and Mike would be a great person to talk to about this, because he obviously is celebrating sobriety and stuff, and that's great. That's his own personal journey. But I find that interesting, though, that you're putting that out there, that you're cutting back and not necessarily saying I'm done, but I'm trying to put that in check.
Yeah, some of them will say like, well, you were definitely on something like in Seaside. It was like, I just came out of a surgery.
Well, you're on medication.
Yeah, and then I was drinking, which I shouldn't have been, but also I shouldn't have been lifting 65 to 70 pound luggages either. Down the stairs alone. So with that being said, nobody asked for Sam to like come in and collect my luggage. That was also another thing that was not aired right. I just felt like it would have been nice if she would have just came to my door. That's all, and just say, hey, I'm all gonna start walking. And everyone's like, you think that that because you brought her back, she should have packed your luggage, you bitch. I'm like, that's not what I was asking for. I was just saying like I knew that her and Paulie were on that side of the hotel rooms, and like she walked past my room, and she knew I just had a surgery, so like, that's really what I nobody asked for her to collect my belongings. She's not my maid. Like nobody that is where I don't like the editing. Nobody asked for her to collect my. Everyone's like, it's because you brought her back. Then no, I was literally just it was a week in, like I had a surgery because again I lost mad weight.
You lost a lot of weight,
and I had to get my freaking boobs redone because I had capsular contracture.
Oh, because of the weight loss?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of stress.
Yeah.
So I mean, sorry that I said like somebody could have helped me, and they were like everyone was trying to help you. I'm like, no one was even at the door. What are you saying? Like. They were like, there was so many people there. I'm like, I was there. I wasn't drunk. And I know.
So all of this
I'm putting that out there.
Yeah. So all of this kind of just goes back to obviously you making this choice to not, have alcohol necessarily be so present in your life. As your friend, like, I want to ask, like.
So stupid.
Are these choices, I know that they're because you want to make them. But having people around you sometimes that like almost, I don't want to say shame you for it.
Oh, they keep bringing it up.
Choices though, like at the end of the day, they're benefiting you, and they're and you're putting yourself first, and it's all good things,
It's all
so
it's all
sorry
great
that
things.
It was brought about in a way.
No, it's being brought up all the time, and I'm like, are you guys gonna like air that? Like, that's gross, like to air that because I could air a lot of their. You don't want me to do that.
No, and you've been very respectful of that.
Oh, I have stories. Oh, They air it, stories are coming out. But anyway, I'm starting.
You're zipping it. Because you're respectful.
I'm being respectful,
yes.
but I would like my medical stuff to not be talked about. That's a HIPAA law. So, like, let's not do that anymore. Respectfully. Thank you.
So going back to
we're talking about EMT. We're talking about
so it all goes hand in
HIPAA,
hand.
EMT.
Yep.
Like as an EMT, there's a HIPAA law, and you're not allowed to talk about medication somebody's on or like any like I learned that full force. Like you cannot. That is something that you're not allowed to do, because I would take documentation about what they're on. I would have to ask them, and I would never go around telling anybody that. Because I'm sworn to, as a person that really wanted to help people for a living, and I did just that, like, I took a solemn oath, and I stuck with it, because that's what you have to do.
Now, is your license still valid?
It is.
Really?
But for, like, 1 more year.
For 1 more year, okay.
Yeah,
and then you would have to do the whole thing all over again?
Well, I would have to, yeah, I think I would have to just take the state test. I think that's how it goes. I think I would probably do it again. But I'd have to, like, read that big-ass book.
Well, I feel like that would be a really interesting concept of a show.
You think people would want to follow that?
Well, I mean, everybody likes to follow crime. A lot of people like to follow, like, not that it's hand-in-hand crime and first responding, but I just think that that would be an interesting thing for you to showcase, you know, to kind of get the hard truths out there of, like, what the first responders go through.
I think a lot of people, obviously the EMTs are not paid anywhere near what they should be paid. Mm-hmm. It's so up. And I don't understand what's going on in the city and everywhere, like everywhere, because they are literally making minimum wage. What the for that? I had bunker gear. I have a mask, like a hazmat mask, like that is fit to my face. Literally, I still have it.
Really?
I have a bulletproof vest, which one of my class was one of the only ones that got it, by the way. But like, I mean, we have a crazy job. Like I had a crazy job, and the amount of money you make. Again, it's like I really didn't like. If you look at it, it's like I didn't do that for the money either. Because I was making. I feel bad for them. Actually, one of my friends I used to work with, he's a paramedic. He actually wants to come on this, and I really want his take on this.
Yeah.
Because he's a paramedic, so he was one step above me, and me and him, like, we are still cool to this day. He's a big Jersey Shore fan, and he could tell you, like, they are underpaid. I can't even say we anymore because I'm not doing that anymore, but they are underpaid. Oh my God, somebody help them. Please help them. Like, I don't know, like mayors, I don't know, Congress, somebody's got to help the EMTs. I don't know. It's up. And it's been going on like this for years. They need retro pay.
And I mean, listen, how many volunteer fire departments are there? Like where people are literally going into burning buildings for free.
That is crazy.
Right? Like, and I just, you know, cheers to all of our first responders out there.
Cheers to them.
Police officers, like
first
firefighters.
Responders. They were the ones during COVID on the front line.
9/11.
9/11. Oh my
like
God.
Everything, you know, like they.
Cheers to you guys.
Cheers to them.
You know.
And it just takes like a special kind of person to put their, you know, lives at stake. And I love that that's just a part of you, right? I mean, the realest girl out there. Like,
I have the plaque and everything, like my certificate. I have it like in like the case.
Oh, I've seen it. It's in your house.
Yeah, with, next to like the MTV popcorns I got.
Yeah.
For like Reality Royalty Award
I
and
love
like
that.
the best docu-series. And, like my name's like engraved in it.
You know what we should do? I'm going to put that on Patreon. I'll put that on Patreon for people to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll blur out like the important stuff. But
like, I mean, I don't care. Like I have my EMT numbers and stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You know, and then I left and yeah. I didn't really want to leave, but I had to because it was just
too much.
It was too much, and with both of the things going on, I couldn't.
I can't believe you were doing that while you were filming.
I was doing both. Where it was like I
was
like trying to like schedule
Yeah.
Me going on these trips, but then being an EMT at the same time. I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, we definitely need to have more people that you knew in that era of your life on
he's said that he wants to come on. So
Great.
I think the next time we do this,
we're
going to have like the other guests come.
Yeah, the next time we record, we're having a bunch
He
of
actually
guests.
lives in Staten Island too, so.
Oh, perfect.
He's ready.
And we're at Phoenix Studios.
Yes, Phoenix Studios. Thank you so much for letting us film here again. We love Tony. And I'm going to be doing a lot with Tony as well, a lot of music stuff. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I can't wait for that as well.
Yeah. So to close off, what advice would you have for people out there who want to either be an EMT or just a first responder of any kind? What advice would you have for them?
My advice for anybody that wants to be an EMT or a first responder, or nurse, really like think about the job and understand what it is and know that you have to put in the work. I think a lot of people think EMT is like a cakewalk. No, you have to learn about the anatomy, about like the heart, everything about the human body. Every kind of disease, every kind of thing you could walk into, Ebola, etc. Now COVID, all that stuff. So I would have had to take a course for that. You know, walking into stuff like that must have been crazy for the first responders. I mean, shout out to them for that with COVID. Oh my God.
So you didn't have to do that?
No.
Oh, God
but
bless.
I felt so terrible about that because
that would have been you.
That would have been me. But I just want to give this is like my opinion. Just stay with it. If you really feel like you want to help people, I think it's a great job. But, just know that you're not going to do it for the money because unless you're going to move up, a lot of people do move up. A lot of the women become firefighters. And I'm like, wow, like this is like anyone can do that. If you really put your heart and your mind to it, you can do it. You do have to be able to put on that gear though. That gear is heavy as shit. But you're gonna see a lot of crazy stuff, but it's also it made me feel whole doing it, if that makes sense. And I was very happy a lot of the times, going home, I'm like, wow, I just saved a life today. I just brought somebody back, with CPR and stuff like that. So it was just, it was up and down, but I had a lot more happiness with that job.
I love that.
So my thing is if you really want to do it, go for it.
It's really good to know.
Yeah.
And go you for opening up. And it's nice that everybody got to hear this.
And a lot of people were like, holy shit, is that Angelina? And I was like, shout out to people because they loved when I was their EMT. They didn't even know it was going to be me. And I would just roll up. They're like, are you I'm like, yeah. So I'm working on Staten Island,
Yeah.
So a lot of the times I was working on Staten Island, and a lot of times I would be put to, Coney Island. So that was crazy. But, shout out to everybody that's still doing it. And I want to have my friend on here. Like I said, he's a paramedic. He's still doing it. I think he's going to retire soon, but he is one for the books. He has seen some. He was always the guy that picked me up when I was down. I got to say that. You have those people,
Yeah.
even in the class that we had, Bravo, we were all so tight. We're still always communicating. A lot of them became firefighters. Shout out to them. But I'll always remember them. They always were so inviting. And I love them. The whole class.
Yeah.
We were this.
I mean, you see some.
Well, at that point, I only did transport, but we were in that class.
Yeah.
5 nights a week. So
Yeah.
you become besties with these people,
Yeah.
carpooling back and
Yeah.
forth. You become good family, good friends, But shout out to them. Bravo. That was my thing.
Amazing.
So thank you guys for listening to Hello. And I'm so glad and happy that I was able to share my EMT work with you guys and, the legacy that I left behind. And I love doing that job. And thank you so much for listening. And stay tuned for the next one. And I love you guys.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to Hello with me, Angelinas. As always, be sure to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review and head over to patreon.com/AngelinaMTV for extended uncensored episodes where you can win fun goodies like signed headshots, note cards from our recordings. Follow us on Instagram at Hello Podcast for extra tea, and there's a lot of tea on there. Just letting you know, you guys are going to want to hear it. So follow me there. See you next time.